Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous, fabulous TV show. Tonya.
Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm so glad that you're back today. Have a treat for you today. We have the Norma Hollis in the house. Woo, woo, woo. Hey, Norma, how are you?
Hey, Tonya, I am fantastic. I'm fabulous, actually. How are you?
There you go. Very good. You know, Norma is one of those people that I can talk about her anytime. And if someone knows her, they're going to go on and on and on about how incredible she is and how lucky they are to know her. That is someone you need to know. Right? And that's what I like. That's the kind of people I like to hang around with. That it not only shows that you're connected, but you're connected to the right people. People with a smile like that.
Thank you, Tonya. It takes one to know one, okay?
There you go. There you go. So it's an admiration society. You know, we're all admirers of each other.
Yes, we are. Yes, you are. That really works, too.
Right. Norma is up to so many things, and this is the type of person I like to hang around. You know, we don't take no for any, you know, someone tells us we can't do something, we're like, I think that is not right, you know. And so we just go out and figure out how to do it. And she helps so many people do the exact same thing. But Norma, how did you get through? I'm sure you've gone through some difficulties. Can you kind of give us your story and how you got to where you are and how fabulous you are today?
Well, yeah, I think difficulties is a part of life when you're on planet Earth. And certainly I have had my share. My difficulty started when I was a child at only 8 years old and had tremendous earaches that were just traumatic. They lasted for 2 years and nothing would stop them until my grandfather prayed on my ear. So obviously that had a lot of impact on me. So most of what has impacted me in life most and my strength has been through my faith and my spiritual beliefs. So I have had tremendous challenges from the ear as a young child, having that much pain and what that does to your psyche in terms of how you're raised, and you're raised, you know, where pain is good for you, you know, which is not a healthy thing to be raised with. All the way through my years in early childhood, my first career was director of Head Start programs. So I worked with a lot of families and got a real understanding of human nature and how we grow, how we come to the planet, how we have such great gifts and talents that we are born with. And then when I had my speakers bureau, I saw how we lose the gifts and talents as we try to be somebody else. I would coach speakers and they come to me and say, I want to be just like, and fill in the blank, whatever name you want to put in. I've heard them all. And then they go try to speak like that person. So just, you know, these things have helped me to really have a keen eye for what it means to be real, to be authentic, to be your real self. And I think that's partly because my greatest challenge in life was really finding me. Between the ear, between being a highly creative person in a very traditional family, between having viewpoints that people didn't understand. It made sense to me, but they didn't understand them. So all of that, and even going into business, going from a nonprofit right into the business world, which I don't advise for anyone to do. But all of these things were very, very challenging, and they had to do a lot with my mindset. So my challenge has been to tweak my thinking periodically, and still it's a constant struggle or a constant challenge, a constant evolution to tweak one's thinking, to be consistent with who you are so you can live your life with grace and ease in your own skin, being you, and still do what society demands of you. So I would say I'm sure it's a common challenge that many creative people have, and I'm just one who expresses it. So
right. And it's so funny that you say that, you know, I hear it all the time too, that, you know, I want to be like so-and-so. And it's shocking that people feel like they need to be someone else to be a success, as if they're going to clone themselves, so suddenly it must make them successful. And I've never told you. Yeah,
it happens in so many areas of life. Go ahead.
Well, and I was going to tell you this. I've never told you this, but there was someone after. So Norma was one of my speakers for the Public Speakers Conference this year. She's going to be another one of my speakers next year. I'm so excited. She's going to be my MC. Woo woo! So it's going to be exciting. But after that event, I was talking to a lady, and she sent me a picture of herself. She had seen you on stage, and obviously you had an incredible impact on her. She had an orange outfit on, very similar to what you had on stage. She had cut her hair just like you. She had branded herself just like you. And I'm like, oh, we have to have a discussion.
We have to talk, yes.
We have to
yes,
talk.
yes.
And so suddenly she realized what she had done, right? Because a lot of times we just do something without really thinking it through completely.
Yes.
And I even had that similar experience with another lady. She was like, oh, Tonya, I'm so excited. I'm going to be just like you. And so she had sent me a picture of her. She had gotten to have pictures. And she had on a very similar outfit that I had on the exact same day that she met me. And I emailed her back because I told her where I'd gotten it and everything. She obviously ran to the store, bought that outfit. I'm like, this is awkward.
And on some level, it's flattering, but on the other hand, it's like, I love being a role model, but I want to role model you to be you. I want to be so much into me that you're excited about being into you, because God gave you certain gifts, certain messages, certain ways of being that I can't do. I'm not going to try to be you. And what makes you powerful is when you step into you.
Exactly. And, I don't know. I guess because I've never wanted to really be somebody else. I've liked what things that people have done and how they say things and maybe the way they dress or something. But it's not like I want to clone that.
Right.
And it's so funny to me, I get a lot of gentlemen. I want to be Les Brown or I want to be Tony Robbins, and I'm like, really? Because you're so much cuter than they are. Come on, you got a better smile. Do something with your smile. So I love that. So when you reach out, because I know you help so many people kind of visualize especially their authentic voice, and figure out even how the coaching world works and speaker world and everything. So what's some tips and techniques that you might be able to share with us today?
Well, I think the one technique I would say to people is be familiar with your energy, because speaking, what it really is a sharing of energy. You're saying words and you're giving messages, but as you give your messages, you're sharing your energy. Your knowledge is an energy, and you're sharing that. So share it in ways that are authentic for you, and share the message that's authentic for you. I believe everyone's life is a story. And part of your message as a speaker is to share part of that story. But it's your story, not somebody else's story. So step into your story, because that's who you are, with the pains and the mistakes and the heartaches and the joys and the grace and all of that, and embrace all of it for what it is. That's what makes you a great speaker, when you really share you.
I love it. And I think, I get frustrated with people just because they feel that if they focus on themselves, that somehow it devalues the offer, or it devalues what their message is. Do you find that? Because I find it all the time with people that want to look at somebody else, or even at the product or service or the expertise, instead of looking at them. But no one buys that. They buy you.
Yeah, well, when you're on stage, surely they're buying your message and they're buying your story, and you have to do it in a way that's very, very authentic. There is, I think, an interesting balance that's important with the speaker on stage, that you're not so much focused on yourself that you lose sight of the message that you have to share. And on the other hand, enough focus on yourself so it's clearly your message and it comes across authentic. So it's a balance game that speakers have to play to learn where is the box, where's the range of your presentation. If you're too far over here, you're too much on yourself. You're too far over here, you're too far away from where you need to be. So finding that balance that gives the message and gives it in a way that's authentic for who you are is really, really important. That's the secret of a really dynamic speaker, when they find that range.
Well, and a lot of times people too, they only want to give their message. They think that they're going to be the motivational speaker and inspire people by giving their cancer story or whatever. And they never really give people something juicy to walk away with, some training, some tips, some how-tos, so that they can take what they just heard from you and move it into their own world.
Yeah, it's a matter of understanding your message and how it translates to other people. Because even though the message and the experience, when I talk about speakers, our message comes from our passion, our experience, or our expertise. So, or some combination of that. So remember, it's your passion, your story, your expertise, and just the way you went through your story, helps someone else. When I tell my story about my ear, I tell it in different ways with different audiences. I pick my people and how I tell it based on who they are, the message that I have to get across. Sometimes when I tell it, I'll cry because I know I want to impact someone with the pain that I went through, especially when I'm dealing with parents and I want them to connect more closely with their children. Where on the other hand, if I'm dealing with a group of corporate leaders, I may say it more matter-of-factly, but I also want to remind them that we all have experiences in our childhood that affect our leadership roles today. So I use it in different ways. I have this range where I can use it. But if I use the more corporate environment perspective with the women that I want to touch their hearts because they're parents, it's not going to work as well. So having the right message and the right energy and sharing it with the right audience is just that combination is what really makes one powerful.
I agree. And I think that too many times people put together a stock presentation that they memorized and they can't adjust it because they memorized it a certain way. And you have to adjust yourself.
Yeah, they hear the word signature speech and they think it means one speech, one way all the time. And for example, with myself, I talk about authenticity and I can mold it based on the audience. I have one I do with parents on raising authentic children, which is totally different than when I talk to speakers about having your authentic message and being authentic when you're on stage, which is different than when I talk to authentic leaders. So it's all different, but it's the same basic signature speech, just modified for the different target audience.
Yeah, love it, love it. And I have, one day there was 2 presentations I was giving, and it was the same presentation. It was a sales presentation, same title and everything. The morning was 150 financial advisors, all over the age of 60 and all white.
That tells you something, okay?
Right? Then that evening, I went to an Avon troupe.
Okay, totally different.
So all women, all stay at home or trying to get out of a corporate job or, have all of these mixes, all kinds of ethnicities and everything, different age groups from 20-year-olds to 70-year-olds. So I had to adjust that presentation to make it have an impact. Even though it was basically the same,
yeah.
I had to adjust to not only have my authentic voice, but their authentic voice also.
And you're right, because it's really about the audience, not about us as speakers. It's about what the audience is going to get from us. We're just the messenger. We're the vehicle through which the message comes. So it's not really about us, not about us being afraid on stage and being scared or mincing our words. It's about making sure that the message we want to translate, the transfer of energy, the transfer of information takes place between us and the people who are listening.
And I loved how on stage at my conference, you went to one side of the stage for one part of your thing and the other side of the stage to show this whole division in your presentation. It was really brilliant.
Oh, why, thank you. Thank you. I had fun doing that. I like to do things that are different that catches their eye because I'm not one of those what I call hype speakers. Some speakers are just rah, rah, and hip bamboo. And that's, but that's not my natural style. If I'm going to be authentic, that's not who I am. So I have to find other ways to draw attention in. And so it's through the message, the content, the way I modify my voice sometimes, and the way I use the stage. And sometimes I'll dress in certain ways that has a little different attention. So you have to do different things based on what's authentic for you.
Because you have such an you have such a natural voice that has kind of it's moldable, right? So when you're speaking, you're molding it, and it's very distinctive.
Mm.
So when
But
I talk to you on the phone, I know it's Norma. And
but
I think I do too, right?
yeah, I wasn't always like this. I was a really bad stutterer when I was a child. My whole family stuttered and I stuttered. And I had one of my coaches, in fact, help me to see myself as a speaker. I went to a training and he had us memorize something before we got there. And I hate to memorize. I'm a spontaneous speaker. Give me my topic and I'll play in the box, okay? But he wanted this memorized. And so when I memorize, I'm kind of rushing through it. I'm normally a fast speaker anyway. And he come to me and say, "No, Norma, slow down." So I do it again a little slower. And he come back and he said, "No, Norma, slow down." And I did it again. I thought I was slower. Then he walked up to me and he said, looked at me in the eye, he said, "No, Norma, slow down." Okay, I got it then. And ever since then, I've learned to use my voice more effectively, to use pauses, to use volume, to go soft sometimes, to balance it out, because that way I this voice modulation and its emphasis, and it draws people in and it gets their attention and pulls them in.
I
It's one of the
have
things I do
Yeah,
for
it's
speakers.
interesting that that you had a stuttering problem because I have a speech impediment issue. It's almost like dyslexia, but it's through the speech pattern. And it comes out every once in a while, and I have to just kind of stop and let my brain adjust, especially very long presentations.
Yes.
And what am I going to do? It happens. Sometimes it just goes on. But I tell you, people don't mind. So anyone who's listening, if you've got issues, the audience is so forgiving, and it actually makes you even more human. People are like, "Oh, look at that!" It's not just this wonderful person on stage. It's someone that does have maybe an issue that they have in the audience.
Because when you're a speaker, they've already put you on a pedestal. And what's important is you don't put yourself on a pedestal. So when
Right.
you come across somewhat vulnerable, that, I'm just as human. I have times when I'm on stage and I may just forget something for a minute. I say, "Oh, I forgot my thought." And I just hold on a minute, it comes right back. And it lets them know it's okay to do that. And it's okay to be authentic about it. And actually you are appreciated and respected more by being honest like that. So that's
Yeah,
something to do.
and I think that's the hardest thing for new speakers, or any of you that are listening. You're like, "Oh, I just can't put together a presentation and memorize it." And it's not. You know your message and you know what people want, and it's about tweaking. It's not about being perfect. And
Right.
it's about getting up there and really just trying to connect with your audience. And I try to remind people that you really do want to speak at, like, I always think about if my 10-year-old and my 93-year-old grandfather would understand what I'm saying, then I'm reaching really everybody in that audience, no matter what
Mhm.
educational level, any issues that they have. And a lot of people, I've been in presentations where even for me, I'm like, "Well, I wonder what that word means." And I am educated, and I'm like, wow, that's trying to impress people by using words that they don't understand. And to me, that loses the crowd.
It does. You have to stay at their level or even lower at their level, but you have to be able to connect with them. If you're on a pedestal and you're if they put you on a pedestal and you stay on there, then they'll knock you off eventually one way or another. Because when you're on a pedestal, you only have one way to go, and that's down. And you don't want to do that. You want to always stay on their level, or at least at a point where you can always grab them.
Exactly. And there's so many people, and I meet everybody, all the way from celebrities to people just starting. And I can honestly say I'm not any more impressed with those at the top than those at the bottom, because everyone has a real true value in their message and what they know. It's just that the people at the top have done it so many times that it's kind of old hat. And sometimes they've even forgotten a lot of how to connect with people because people keep putting them up so high.
And they begin to believe it. They become insensitive sometimes. So, and oftentimes the people that are at the lower that have no recognition actually have a better message when you really get down to it. Because some of the ones who are at the higher levels, they have become insensitive. They haven't modified. I have one speaker, for example, I've known for many years, and every time I hear the speaker, it's the same message. I mean, you've learned nothing in all these years. Can't you update the message? But the style is good, and so people enjoy that, which I understand. But you give so much more value when as a speaker, you show how you are evolving. You show the mistakes you've made, the challenges that you've gone through, and how you have surpassed them. That's really what speaking is about, helping other people not go through the same bull crap we had to go through, and help save time off of that. And Tonya, what I love so much about you and the work that you do is your byline, changing the world from the front of the room. And so that's what speaking is. It's about changing the world and changing the world for the better.
Yes.
So that's about helping the audience to do that by sharing your passion, experience, and expertise.
Exactly. And it's frustrating because we know the same people and we both know who we're talking about. And sometimes, I just had to cut out some people that are pretty big names in the industry, but they're not givers.
Yes.
They do not, every time I talk to them, it's not, hey, Tonya, how's it going? Or even, hey, Tonya, how can I help you? It's always, Tonya, I need you to send this out. Tonya, can I speak at this event? Tonya, can I do that? It's always about them.
Yes.
And it wears you out. And that's what I love about you and the people that I bring into my world and so close, because I don't have to worry about that. I know that you not only are looking out for yourself, but you're looking out for other people too.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what a lot of speakers, we're very givers, a lot of the true speakers who are really here to change the world from the front of the room. And it's important to remember that because, if you look at the bigger picture, which a lot of speakers do here, this planet Earth that we're on, it needs a little help. And we're here. I like to refer to us as the pioneers who are beginning to usher in the 1,000 years of peace that we're supposedly promised to have. But it's not going to happen overnight. It happens because some pioneers step forward and are the transition. They are the bridge from one to the other. And that's what a lot of speakers are. That's how I see our role on the planet at this time. So I encourage any of you who feel that you have passion, experience, or expertise to share to step up. Get ready. Let's share it. Let's get it going. Let's get a coach and let's make it happen.
Exactly.
Because you got to share it. It was given to you for a reason.
When I first started out, I looked around and I said, okay, who can help me? Because you don't want to take the next 5 years to figure it out on your own. That's 5 years of wasted energy, money, everything. You could have gotten it over in 3 months or less. And you find people, exactly, find people, like Norma, myself, others that can help you with the area that they have the expertise in. And I'm letting you know right now, don't just go out and hire anybody.
Right.
Talk to them and make sure you resonate with them. I've heard so many people are like, oh, I just heard about this person and just signed up for their coaching. And then they didn't even like them, So just have a conversation with people and then make sure that they're an expert in what they're about to teach you.
And also,
go ahead.
The other piece that I think is really important that speakers miss a lot is that there's a certain sequencing to how you get things done in the speaker industry. I have met people who are out there marketing themselves before they've even figured out what their message is. And that's because they met some coach who told them, you should go do this and go do that. And without the knowledge and without the real inquiry, the internal inquiry that can help give you answers, they jumped in the excitement and enthusiasm of, hey, I'm going to do my thing and I'm going to get out there, yada, yada, yada. Someone so promised me that's going to happen. The hype stuff. So, yes. And that's not always what works. So a conversation, as you said, Tonya, is really important. And just make sure everything lines up and ask a lot of questions. And if you are left with questions, then that means that's questioning if that person is right for you. There's a lot of coaches out there. And a lot of great coaches, and there's also a lot of very coaches that whose objective is more financial than it is to really help you. And it's really a discernment to make that decision. So, and I don't know. I have many speakers that has a lot of money to waste. We all are, trying to figure out how to do this as economically as possible. So getting a coach that can help you know where you're at and make sure you're in the right trajectory, in the right line, in the right lane at the right time is really, really important. And if you don't have a coach for that, take the time and ask enough questions yourself to make sure that you're clear.
Exactly. So I know you're giving some amazing something away today. So what is your offer?
Well, what I like to offer is an opportunity to check on your own authenticity. What I specialize with speakers is helping you find your message, helping you really dig deep into who you are, to understand the message of your life, to see your passion, experience, and expertise. And all that comes from being authentic, your authenticity. So I invite you to take my complimentary authenticity assessment. And once you take it, if you score the last three questions that you're interested in knowing more about yourself, you're going to get an invitation to have a complimentary 30-minute one-on-one coaching session with one of my authenticity coaches. And they can help you identify your authenticity, look at maybe where you may want to tweak the energies in your life to become more authentic. Because what I found in the 12 years that I ran my speakers bureau is that the speakers who were the most powerful were the ones who were really, as I would say, okay with themselves, which I later learned to mean that they were authentic. They were coming from a place of their passion, experience, and expertise. They had a genuine desire to make a difference and help someone, and they were sharing their own stories in ways that were informative, impactful, and made a difference in people's lives. So to take the assessment, you go to BeRealTest.com. That's the word BeRealTest.com. It's a complimentary 30-question test assessment that will assess you in what we call the 9 energies of authenticity. And then, as I mentioned, you score the last 3 questions on the high level, and you will get directed to a page where you can select your coach. There's about a dozen coaches on there. You can select the one that you would like. 1 or 2 of them are speech coaches as well. They are all personal development coaches. They are all speakers, and they can help you in one way or another. So find the one that resonates with you and have a complimentary conversation and see what you might learn.
Yay! So everyone, why would you not do that? I mean, how exciting just to kind of start moving yourself into the thought process, because this might be brand new to you. You might like, I've never even heard of authentic voice, and being your own person. It might be a new concept. So just take those steps and start that process in your mind, and start opening it up and, let those butterflies out.
Let them fly. They want to fly.
You're no longer a caterpillar. Grow up. Come on. Let it go. Thank you so much, Norma, for being on. You're always a pleasure and always welcome to come back over and over and over again.
Tonya, thank you, and I will take you up on that. You will see me soon. Thank you so much. I appreciate being a guest. Thanks.
Yes, and don't miss Norma at my conference, the Public Speakers Conference. So we're going to have information on publicspeakersassociation.com. So Public Speakers with an S, association.com. You can also find information about Norma on there. So obviously, you need to book her to speak at your next event. So if you are like, oh, I'm wondering who I should have at my virtual event or my event in New York or in Paris, you can ask me too.
Let me just give them, let me just give them normahollis.com to know more about me, or normahollisspeaks.com for my speaking site. So, or call Tonya or Google me, you'll find me, Norma Hollis. Thanks so much.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, but don't let it just flitter by. Get connected to both of us so that you can really make a difference for not only your life, but all those people out there that are waiting to know who you are. So bye. See you at our next show. Bye, Norma.
Bye, Tonya. Take care.